Right. I am reaching out basically to, if you see the title of this video, please contact my local MP. If you have been watching my YouTube channel recently and the videos regarding my illegal eviction, the solicitor I have is trying to get this landlady in prison for me, committed, and of course compensation and all of that sort of thing, and to get me back into the house. In the meantime, District Judge Harper told me that after telling the landlady that had I had the committal on that day, on the 8th of August, he would have sent her to prison, but I didn't have a solicitor, now I do. Had to self-fund a hotel for 6 weeks at that point. I'm on severe disability, and the council, for those 6 weeks, they were not doing what District Judge Harper had told me that they should do, which was to provide an illegal evictions officer. And he said, go to the local MP. Now, I avoid Caroline Ansell. This is the same local MP who failed to stop and correct, along with other members of the council, when I was attacked at Belmore Road. I am being criminally gang-stalked by Eastbourne Borough Council. Criminally gang-stalked. We are talking criminal gang-stalking. Because they have not acted by law for a long, long time now. Monique Prescott, who works for the Hub, she's changed her role now, she told me that there were no illegal evictions officers. Now, my solicitor said that District Judge Harper is a good judge. Now, he got quite cross speaking to me, saying, they have illegal evictions officers, you need to go down there, go to your local MP. Now, on the 15th of August, which is the date that I finally got into this hellhole, and Lilybank Homes have abused me in the past. They've unlawfully locked me out of an all-male house share at Ceylon Place, prompting a banker at my bank, Barclays Bank, to phone him to say, I have a vulnerable customer here, could you let her back in? He has been threatening me out of here because of the letters that he put under my door, which you will have seen in an earlier video. I read out the letters today before I went out on the 19th of September. It's now the 20th of September. It's in the early hours of the 20th of September. And I'm being told that they are going to, by Andrew Cook, it took guts for me to walk into the council offices, because the last time I was there, when Councillor Josh Babarundi, OBE, told me to go down there, I was physically assaulted April last year. I was physically assaulted out of there by public servants, by security guards. I had already been beaten out of my flat at SDR Living as a response to my father's death. From Barwell's, my brand new flat of 4 months, I was beaten out of my flat. This is all criminal. It's all criminal, and it's under the council. It's funny how Monique said, do you think people are afraid of the truth? Which is exactly what this Natalie had said. And you can see her behaviour. Yes, because these people lie. I mean, I recorded Monique saying that I was physically forced out of SDR into Pevensey Road, where police trafficked me. They practically physically forced me into another property against my will. And they got men from Pelican Storage in New Haven to clear out my flat, which is why Andrew Cook and the whole lot of them bullied me out of Eastbourne to New Haven. So this has been going on and on and on and on and on. I'm just going to try and keep this as short as possible. So basically, could you please reach out to my local MP? I don't want to speak to her. She gave my partner a caring role for me in 2016 through Care for the Carers. It was disastrous. The stress that led to both of us being arrested when he can't cope and all of this nonsense. It's just, I don't know what's going on anymore. It's all just insanity. It's more than one narcissist at work here, but it'll all fall on their heads anyway, however you look at it. Just excuse me. So if you're watching this video, please contact my local MP, Caroline Ansell. As I said, I don't want to waste my time with her because in 2021, I had a cancer patient, a member of the public, email her to say that a witness statement to say that she had witnessed me being attacked at Belmore Road, where convicted criminals had attacked me, including a mother and daughter who were mentioned in the BBC News as mugging the elderly, with 22 previous convictions. And I've got a dictaphone. The neighbours were supporting me in the council, were targeting me, and PC Scott Franklin Lester Senior, who was well and truly in the club with all his medals, arrested me and tried to get me in prison for going up Beachy Head suicidal after I recorded a criminal on a tag threatening to beat me senseless. So, yes, you couldn't make any of this up. So our local MP didn't respond to that when I self-funded the Cavendish Hotel for 9 months for my safety. And by the way, during one of the court hearings, Fuat, the Iranian manager of the Cavendish Hotel, and the other staff there were in court the same time that I was there because they were walking out of the Hastings County Courts. And the Cavendish Hotel is gone right down the pan. It's known as Homeless Hotel. It used to be like the Grand Hotel many moons ago. And I used your taxpayers' money out there to self-fund the Cavendish Hotel for my safety for 9 months. I was a loyal guest, and in the end they treated me like absolute dirt. If you'd read the reviews the same time I put up the most appalling hotel review you could ever read, Basil 40 towels eat your heart out, you know. And I was reading other people's reviews, but I've put more than one review up of that hotel because I've stayed there so many times at the Cavendish. But I was attacked in council accommodation, and the same Grace Hill, who is threatening me now, the housing needs specialist, said that that was a suitable accommodation, and my life was put in danger thanks to Grace Hill. Now I am being threatened out of this property tomorrow, even though Eastbourne Borough Council have committed so many crimes against me, along with the police. They are not acting by law. There are so many laws they're breaking. The Equality Act. They didn't get an illegal evictions officer. So Caroline Ansell mentioned District Judge Harper said that Bryony McCarthy needs an illegal evictions officer because she self-funded from the 5th of July to the 15th of August. She self-funded hotels when she should have had accommodation by law provided to her. You've already committed crimes against Bryony McCarthy, and now you are bullying her out of her emergency accommodation by someone who had already previously illegally evicted a woman on severe disability by locking her out of the property. And that he took all my possessions to, if I remember rightly, was this when they took all my possessions to Hastings and then drove them back to a place where I had bedbugs crawling all over me? I think that's when I was in that place you wouldn't put a rat in it. And I'm being bullied here because you can see the video for yourself. It's outright lies. I've exposed the lies in the last few videos since the day before yesterday, the 18th of September, which you can see the video, the evidence of me speaking to John, who, by the way, as my partner pointed out, he had knocked on my door to begin with to ask me if the fire alarms man could do a fire alarms check. The fire alarm inspector man. And you can see in the video he's made false allegations in the letter. That was the two letters that I read earlier today in the last videos, that a false allegation that I harassed the fire alarms man when I didn't. You can see the video for yourself. And yet Natalie from downstairs, these two women wanted to help me. They've been troublemakers. And I knew it from the start. I could see the red flags. They wanted to help me get into a flat without me asking for it, asked me if I was schizophrenic, said my partner was here when he wasn't, said I was lying. This was all Natalie downstairs, and the woman next door to me, Sarah, it doesn't matter if I say their names now, Sarah had said that Sarah next door said to me that Natalie threatened to beat her up, and then you see Natalie going into her room. Well, today they were all in Sarah's room, and the foreign lady had turned a bit funny, not so friendly, very odd behaviour. Because when I received the letters under my door today saying John saying I don't want you here anymore, I told the lady with black hair downstairs, I told her that there's been weird behaviour in this house. I told her everything, and that they don't want me here. And I said I'm not the only person who complained that they didn't know where the bins go, on what day, the recycling. And I was distressed anyway because they had locked me out of Ceylon Place. So there has been this pathetic, demented behaviour. I was locked out of the Lilybank Homes. John, this is the people that manage this place. So if you want to contact Lilybank Homes head office, because they locked me out of the all-male house share because I had complained. I was in distress. I cried out because the hospital were talking about disposing of my possessions. And then they just kept on locking me out of places and bullying me. And it's to antagonise me, you see. This is criminal gang stalking. It's completely criminal. you've got a lot of rights, especially if you're on severe disability. You have a lot of rights, which the council and these property managers and these idiots in these temporary accommodations they're just jealous. They're jealous because I've got a partner that loves me. If I had a partner if Darren, my partner, beat me to a pulp and I was on drugs, I'd get a social worker like them. And they're just bitter and jealous. So all this nonsense about, are you schizophrenic? Oh, darling, come here. You shouldn't be in a place like this. You know, come here. I don't like people touching me. I don't trust people. I give people the time of day. I give them a chance. And that's it. One chance and that's it. But it's that Natalie that told me to leave John alone when it was none of her business. As you can see in the video, the false allegation that I harassed and was abusive to the contractor. You can see for yourself, I didn't even acknowledge him. I didn't even look at him. So, but Natalie was telling me to leave John alone when it was none of her business. And they're saying that I've been abusive to the residents. Again, lies. So they're just troublemakers. Because when I walked out of the house today, I heard them, I was doing this. I did overhear what Sarah next door said. Oh, she was shouting at John. But you can see the video for yourself. I'm not shouting. I'm raising my voice and I'm angry. Quite rightly so. Not only did he abuse me at the all-male property about 5 years ago, he's abused me while I've been here. Emotional abuse, neglect, and now lies. Knowing that, as you can hear by my distress, I met my brain-damaged, crippled sister, transgender sister, the day I moved in here. I missed an appointment for a scan at the hospital as a result of the council not acting by law. They were not acting by law, what the judge had told me the council must do for me. And he told me, District Judge Harper told me to go to the local MP. And I don't want to go to her because, as I said, she didn't care that a cancer patient, a member of the public, gave her a witness statement. I put the Chief Financial Officer on notice under common law at that time. And they ignored it. The councillors failed to stop and correct. They serve us, the people. So this has been ongoing, endless. So just to say, they're not following through by law. And now they want to lock me out of here, kick me out. So I'm going to lock my door. And if Eastbourne police, let me say this, if Eastbourne police turn up, that's up to 14 years in prison. It's up to 14 years in prison. Let's enforce the law. The police are not allowed to turn up to evictions. It's a civil matter. Only to keep the peace, but they can't even... They cannot, by law, illegally. They had not, in the first place, provided me with an illegal evictions officer. Now, the solicitor is saying to me and my partner to contact him if they give me any nonsense. But at the same time, he's saying, you've got no rights in temporary accommodation. It's just temporary accommodation, which is rubbish. I'm on severe disability. The shelter website say I have rights. So even as a licensee, I have rights. I may not be a tenant, but as a council licensee in temporary accommodation, I do have rights. They can't just kick me out. So let's just bring this up. this is on the shelter website. No, this is not. Sorry, it's legislation.gov.uk. So this is under the, hang on a minute, I've lost it. Where is it? I've lost it again. Prohibition, I can't even say it, prohibition of eviction without due process of law. And this is, so just to say, this is the Protection from Eviction Act 1977, which is the same laminated notice that I put on my door from shelter that was to warn the landlady. I laminated it and put it on the door, and now she's facing prison. So this is regarding Lilybank Homes. This is under Eastbourne Borough Council, because they do need to still follow process. It does mention council licensees. I've lost it. Hang on. So hang on, I've just lost it. I've just lost it. Hang on. Prohibition of, where is it? Oh, I've lost it. This is on the government website. Oh, I've just lost it. Oh, God. I'm so tired. I'm just drained. Right. Prohibition of eviction without due process of law. So, this is part three, prohibition of eviction without the due process of law. Number 1, where any premises have been let as a dwelling. This is on the government website. So the local MP needs to know that in the first place, an illegal evictions officer was not provided to me by Eastbourne Borough Council when District Judge Harper told me the council have to do that. On the 5th of July, the police did not arrest the landlady, which they're supposed to, and she's facing prison. So Eastbourne police are in on this gang stalking, by the way. That's why they tried to bully me out of New Haven, isn't that right? Eastbourne police are watching my videos. So guys, I need you to do me a favour and to call the Eastbourne MP, Caroline Ansell, and to let them know that on the 5th of July, I was unlawfully locked out of my house share. The landlady is facing prison, and District Judge Harper told me to go to the local MP. And as I said, I've given my reasons why I don't want to go to her. I once spent a night on the night shelter in a church, and I told the ladies there, I do not want that woman coming near me. But she still came over to me and she bent down like as if I was a 3-year-old, and I just glared at her with a smile, and I didn't say anything. And yet in 2016 she told my partner she didn't want to meet me, and when I told her friends that I didn't want her to come near me, she did. It was one of her employees who advised my partner to take a caring role for me through Care for the Carers, and they've destroyed our lives. So anyway, but now I need you lot out there to do me a favour and to ring Caroline Ansell. Obviously, I'm only addressing intelligent, coherent members of the public, obviously. Where any premises have been let as a dwelling, this is on the government website, under a tenancy which is neither a statutory protected tenancy nor an excluded tenancy, and the tenancy in this section referred to as the former tenancy has come to an end, but B, the occupier continues to reside in the premises or part of them. So I am occupying these premises. It shall not be lawful for the owner, so that's John Clement, of the director of Lilybank Homes, to enforce against me, the occupier, otherwise than by proceedings in the court, his right to recover possession of the premises. Number 2, in the section, the occupier, me, in relation to any premises means that any person lawfully residing in the premises, i.e. myself, or part of them at the termination of the former tenancy. Subsections 1 and 2 above apply in relation to any restricted contract within the meaning of the Rent Act 1977. A, creates a licence, because I'm a licensee, not a tenant, and B, is entered into after the commencement of Section 69 of the Housing Act 1980. So basically they need to follow a due process. They can't just force me out. I mean, I could say I've got squatters' rights because I've been here for just over a month, but I'm not a squatter, I'm a legal licensee. But subject to that, excluded tenancy and excluded licence shall be constructed in accordance with Section 3A. So anyway, the point that I'm making here is I am occupying this property lawfully. I have entered a contract. I am contracting with Lilybank Homes. I, Bryony McCarthy, living woman and not the legal fiction, under common law, I am contracting with Lilybank Homes. I entered a contract. I signed something or other at the council, but they had not even provided me with an illegal evictions officer. Now, the solicitor told me to come back to him. He's very funny. He's all over the place. I am trying to hold it together with him because one of the poor reviews, I don't really have much choice because they're doing away with legal aid. I have to work with this solicitor. And one of the reviews said he knows nothing about housing law. Now, the thing is, he said that Brighton Housing Trust have probably decided not to represent me because it was a Brighton Housing Trust support worker that opened and then closed my case when they were meant to help me set up housing benefit. Yes, so then they make up this rubbish that Dan Saxby said, I don't trust them, which I never said, but funnily enough, yes, you wonder why I don't trust you. When you protected a woman a vile creature who was mugging the elderly with her mother and was mentioned in the BBC News, and Lorraine Blackwell said, I don't want you to record me because they've got a thing. There's been a thing of Bryony records, and they wonder why. I asked a member of the public to film me going into the council today, which took guts, as I said. Councillor Josh Bibarundi, OBE, told me to go there, and upon his instructions in April of last year, after the police had beaten me out of my flat as a response to my father's death, he told me to go down there, Councillor Josh Bibarundi, OBE, and I was physically assaulted out of the council offices by security guards. You couldn't make it up if you tried. He told me that he'd spoken to Gary Hall, head of housing, and that's why me walking into the council offices took guts. This is where I signed my mother's I signed my mother's death certificate in 2009 at the town hall. And I was forced to sign a homeless application form 8 days before she died in August 2009. I didn't get support. I didn't get anything. So I'm going to finish on that note. So I hope it would be really good if people could support me. And I'm talking about intelligent people here. I know that last time someone was reported to the police for ringing the House of Commons someone from the Police Abusing Powers channel, troublemaker idiots. They're a bunch of, yes, you have to be careful of people on YouTube. They're not all professional, or, you've got to have discernment. So they were reported to the police for ringing the House of Commons. But anyway, I'm obviously talking to intelligent people who have got, well, like that lovely Welsh lady, and I'm very thankful to that lady for her very encouraging comments, very encouraging. I don't know, honestly, I went up Beachy Head suicidal in the early hours, and I just don't know what to do anymore. I don't know, so I'm going to lock the door. I simply don't know what to do. There's something I'd like to say. I don't know whether I should say it or not. Because the legal ombudsman have treated me as a priority customer because of it. But I had an unknown mobile number ring me this evening, asking me if I would like something that I wouldn't know what to do with because I've never taken it before. Let's just say that. And it was in front of my partner. It was an unknown mobile number, because I'm at that point where I've been pushed and I've had a sheltered life. I thought, where do you get these things? But I said no thank you, and I hung up. So yes, I'm being pushed to suicide. I'm being pushed. It's all socially engineered, set up this way. Human trafficking, drugs, all that sort of thing. And I've had a sheltered life, and I realise this is what they push vulnerable people to do. It's evil. Suicide, drugs, human trafficking, it all goes hand in hand. So, yes. But I better keep my voice down. But I don't know. I really don't know. But when I went to the council today, before I did, when I walked out of the door, and I heard talking next door, and they were in there, and I thought, right, I know where I stand. And I walked out of the door and I looked up, and that one next door was looking out of the window down at me, and I just looked up and I shook my head and carried on walking. And but it's sad really, because it will fall on their heads. That girl Natalie that you saw having a go at me, and all these lies and troublemakers, as I said, I comforted her tears. And because she's got a boyfriend who's been put in prison for beating her up. So, and you know who else did that with me? None other than that vile creature who was put in prison for a second time after assaulting me in one of these hellholes for mugging the elderly. I couldn't believe it. Her face was on my screen on MSN, the BBC News. And I've got evidence against this council, so this is why they're doing this to me. Because that Sherelle Clark, she was all, she knocked on my door. She said, "I'm sorry, I won't," because there was noise upstairs. There was a fight upstairs. And that's before I knew anything about that individual, because I was in one of these places. But women are very toxic. You know, men are toxic, as you know, we're all human, but they're nothing like women. I can tell you that now. I people in general, I keep away from people. I don't like people. You know, it's like being in a playground with little children, though. She says that. She says, you know, they haven't developed like adults in these places. I'm having to say what I'd already recorded in the hotel, but I lost the recording, so I'm just saying it again. It's been an interesting day, because when I came out of the council offices, what happened was I went into the council with the letters, with the notice to quit and the other letter that I hadn't received. I asked a member of the public if they would film me in case I was assaulted, because I didn't feel safe going into the council. So he said, and I didn't realise he'd had a bit to drink, although it did look a bit obvious. I didn't realise until he got up, he was slurring his words, and he had a can in his hand, and I thought, oh gosh. But he came in and he got his phone out and he started to film. And I said to this lady that I had these papers and that this gentleman was filming me for my safety and protection. And she said, right, well, I don't give him permission to film and record, and I won't speak to you unless you stop filming and recording. I said, well, will you help me though? Yes, okay. She said, you won't be assaulted. I think she said that anyway. I said, right, well, okay. I thanked the man, and I said I didn't know him. And she said, I do understand though why you would film, because I would if I'd been assaulted. And I thought, right, so what have you got to hide then? Why won't you be? Do you know what I mean? It's that. But to work in these places, they want you to be very, very cutting and hard. You know, just they're not friendly people. And these are the times we're living in. They're not people just aren't friendly and helpful. Which I find very bizarre, because I was always led to believe that they were there to serve us, and I've got my head in the 80s and 90s, and I've had this middle class upbringing where I thought that everything I thought that was there to help us isn't. As I said, I've got to be beaten to a pulp and on drugs to get, and even then you might not get the help. But I explained everything to this woman, Andrew Cook. I had him on the phone. Then the long and short of it was, I said the same thing. You're still not doing what your job's, looking into the DHP and the storage payment that, you know, it was. I said that it was Barclays Bank that phoned John Clement to try and get me back into Ceylon Place, and it was also Barclays Bank that told me that the council had stopped my payments for the storage at Rockhurst Drive. So what's going on? So no one's looking into anything. I can feel if you just look at me, the life is being drained out of me. I've been losing blood and I just feel like they're killing me. Look at the state of me. Let me look at the state of me. So it's, I'm talking about this in the early hours, but I said to Andrew, I was very calm. He just said, I said, this is one big joke. He said, it's not a joke. I said, no. Just saying. And basically he was saying they want you out tomorrow. Tomorrow is now today. You can't just kick someone out just like that without notice. We want you out, that's it. Nowhere to go. But they keep doing this. It's unlawful, it's criminal. The council already have my blood on their hands. So I need to lock myself in the room. And as I said, if the police were to turn up, Eastbourne police, please let them know that they are committing a crime. And it's up to 14 years in prison for doing that, because the police are not allowed to get involved in evictions. But this is not even an eviction. It's not lawful. They, as I said, they have never provided an illegal evictions officer. They kept beating me out of my home. The legal ombudsman are already treating me as a priority. I told one of the investigators, I'm a vulnerable customer, you see, once again, because they tried to get me compensation for what PC Scott Franklin Lester did to me, trying to get me in prison for being suicidal on Beachy Head, and they didn't manage it. And this was just before I went into SDR living, and the police beat me out of my flat of 4 months. I actually had a nightmare about it. So I've been very close to killing myself. Now, I was advised by, I went to Warming Up the Homeless, one of the organisers, and she has just, one of their service users has attempted suicide, so they've got to go down to the hospital. I went up to Beachy Head in the early hours a couple of nights ago, and I was very close to doing it. And as you will see in the videos, I bought alcohol for Dutch courage, not because I drink, but for Dutch courage, because I am a hairbreadth away from doing that. So, but she suggested I go down to the council in the morning and to ring adult social care, who never do anything. They wouldn't even do anything when the council weren't acting by law, when District Judge Harper said, I need an illegal evictions officer. The police did not arrest the landlady, which they were meant to do, on the 5th of July. My partner's locksmith tried to get everyone involved, adult social care, the police and the council, and none of them were acting by law. And now I am being bullied out of my room. Unlawfully. So you can't, this is what I mean, you couldn't make it up. It is so pathetic. So, when you're literally thinking, being terrorised, it's terrorism. It's terrorism, it's criminal. I've just told you what's on the government website. It's there in plain English. Shelter will tell you that what they're doing is criminal. So Andrew Cook has been trying to get I'm not eloquent like my partner. He uses very big words. I don't know the words that he uses, but he put it also very, very eloquently. And they're trying to use mental health to bully me out. You can't do that when a person's on severe disability. You just can't do these things. I've got rights under Section 27 of the Equality Act. Victimisation. It's victimisation as well. Victimisation. So there we go. And yeah, they were making me homeless when both of my parents died. These are triggers. Yeah, socially engineered triggers. Right, she's lost a father. Right, she's lost a mother. And I've got a brain damaged sister who she got a migraines when my mother died that's led to brain damage, that she's now got to talk to a neurosurgeon about life expectancy because the loss of our mother almost killed both of us. And I was told by a locum we needed trauma-based therapy, and instead they have done this Masonic Luciferian agenda of the transhuman, trans whatever, transgender evil experiments, when really even she knew it was a disassociation. I knew that we had some sort of disassociation disorder type thing. So when she said it didn't surprise nothing. I'm already there. I get it. I'm one step ahead. When my peripatetic school teacher friend told me that she thought she was a lesbian, she fancied her opera singer friend, I knew it was a phase. I knew it was to do with her mother. I knew immediately. And she later said to me, because she's now married to a man, and she said, it was only because of my mother's neglect or whatever. I don't know, I know, it's okay. I already knew that. But anyway, I'm diverting the thing as I always do. But so anyway, to get back to what I was saying, the vulnerable being targeted. So when I came out of the council offices, I was calm until I went to Barwell's with my partner, and then I went into the town centre and I shouted very, very loudly at the top of my head. And then this woman was hanging around. Welcome to Eastbourne. And she seemed, I felt like a snob, because I was thinking, she seems a bit rough, and a bit, a bit like she might be drinking or something. And she told me to go to Bishop and Light. Now, Bishop and Light get mental health nurses like Pippa. There was a Pippa. There are a lot of Pippas around, aren't there? To come into the psychiatric unit. And she did nothing. But she worked for Bishop and Light under mental health. It's all rubbish. But this woman who was a bit rough told me who to go to at Bishop and Light solicitors. I said, all right, thank you very much. Tell them to ask for this person and that so-and-so sent you. Well, I went into Greg's the bakery and I spoke to a few people in there. There's something about being vulnerable in Eastbourne and the people that you attract and the people that you talk to, and how it all sort of, well, you see where I'm going with this. Anyway, the woman that had told me to go to Bishop and Light, guess what? She's one of the ones who goes into Greg's the bakery in Eastbourne and steals food, just helps herself and walks out. And the staff in there are too scared to do anything, and the police won't get involved. Do you see what I mean? We're living in a lawless society. The enemy, the lawless one. And how us believers, like me and my partner, are being targeted like our saviour. Do you see what I mean? So, yes, there's the corruption, it's just anarchy. And then a bit later on, another man came into the bakery, and this woman with a Zimmer frame said, "Oi, leave them alone," because they were anxious. the stuff. He said, "Oh, but I understand what he was polite. He was polite. He just said, have you got food left over that you're going to throw away? Because you're only going to throw it away." That's a fair comment. At least he didn't help himself. He didn't steal, unlike the other woman. But I can't believe it was the same woman who told me to go to Bishop and Light, and she's just helped herself to stealing. It does make you angry. It's okay to be polite and ask, but if you're going to steal, it's just, yes. But anyway, so I got speaking to a woman in there with a Zimmer, and I won't say her name, but she told me how she'd lost her mother. She'd seen her mother killed by a dust cart in Croydon, I think she said. And she had to, this was many moons ago, and she had to go to court to and see the man who killed her. And she said she never got the help she needed, and she ended up on drugs. So I assume this is why she's now got disabilities, and why she's got, because this is what it does to people. It ages them, like, I suppose, alcohol and drugs and all that sort of thing. And I said to her, that's just like my sister with the migraines and the aneurysm, the brain damage that caused by the bereavement of our mother. I said, obviously it's different to your mother because yours was a tragic accident, whereas my mother's was an evil disease, and a rare cancer is not the same, obviously, as a shock death. But the fact is, it's our mother, and it's a death. It's the death of our mother, and it's the trauma. But it was awful. She said she'd been in these awful temporary accommodations that were disgusting, and that her brother or someone had complained about them. But her brother's now in South Africa, so but she understood. And she said she's got a social worker who's done absolutely nothing to help her. And for some reason, they're going into her home and taking pictures, opening doors up, opening things up and taking pictures. I said, surely they're not allowed to do that. It's your home. She said, no, they're not. They're just coming, forcing their way in and taking pictures. So I don't know, but it does sound familiar. And I said, why do they pick on the vulnerable? Why do they pick on the vulnerable? But, well, anyway, there we go. And then, so I went to warming up the homeless because the troublemaker downstairs, Natalie, that you saw in that video, when I moved in, when they acted all strangely and said all those weird things to me, and are you schizophrenic, and gaslighting me, saying my partner was here when he wasn't, saying I'll help you get into a 1-bedroom flat. I reluctantly gave her Trudy's number from warming up the homeless. She set up the charity. She said that these agencies would contact me when they didn't. Now I went to the charity that gives, that very charity that was there tonight handing out food, and as I said, I spoke to the woman, a woman there who was one of the volunteers, and I explained how today I had sent a very long text message to Trudy saying that I've been bullied and threatened out of here, all because of these health and safety issues, how they've treated me before, and I've had enough of it, that they didn't even get an illegal evictions officer, I'm a vulnerable adult, etc., etc., etc. And that's when she said, look, we've got to attend. One of our service users has attempted suicide. We need to go down to A&E. I said, right, oh, that's awful. So I told her how I had gone up Beachy Head suicidal, and she suggested that I ring out of hours adult social care, which I have. And I'm going to upload that video after this. It's only 2 minutes long. It's just to show that I've rung adult social care. So I just gave her the lowdown on everything, and then I spoke to a chappie I know whose name I won't mention, but he's a character like me, and a proper character, but I mean that in a nice way. And he's had problems with his neighbour. I told him how I spoke to PCSO Williams about the cyclists, the hit and run cyclist that he prosecuted, the one who hit the 3-year-old. It's in one of the videos. And I said to him that about what's been going on, how I'm being bullied out of my accommodation, how this landlady should go to prison, that I'm not going to have a roof over my head despite being vulnerable, and this ongoing gang stalking. And he said, I read him the letter, and he said there's no way that you would. He said that he hasn't watched my videos as far as I'm aware, and he said that's rubbish. No, you wouldn't be rude to a maintenance man. I said, I know, that's not you. And he said, nah. So he was with me on all of this nonsense. And he told me that today, this sounds like something from the Middle East, but a foreign student had been stoned on the beach and left unconscious. Apparently a group of typical British lads, young lads, thugs, had stoned this foreign student on the beach and left him unconscious. Can you believe that? Yes, of course you can. These are the times that we're living in now. So our lovely British youngsters are targeting foreign students. And yeah, I'm surprised they're not being knifed to death. I mean, honestly, this country is a cesspit. Just look at this town, look at what they're doing to me. I can't have 5 minutes without someone. But as I said, it's kind of sad because they'll do it to someone else. They'll use up all their narcissistic supply, and in the end, they'll end up very, very, very lonely. I don't like being around people. And yet the funniest thing is, I've never felt so connected to other people, and yet I'm so solidarity. I like my solidarity. I need it. I crave it. I crave my peace and quiet. And yet I've never felt so connected to other people, being away from all the toxicity that is. So I pity these individuals, and they are pathetic. So, but anyway, I really would appreciate if you would contact the local MP for me today, because I'm going to be terrorised out of here, and to tell Eastbourne Police to warn them to leave me alone, because they did not arrest Alice Victoria Scott on the 5th of July. Again, I repeat, Eastbourne Police did not arrest Alice Victoria Scott on the 4th of March, which is when she first attempted to illegally evict me, when the police turned up. I know, because I filmed it. And the second time, which was on the 5th of July, when she actually committed a criminal offence by changing the locks straight after I had returned from Hastings Court. She had been locking me out of the house, and she's happy to go to prison for it, but she's never once been arrested. So tell Eastbourne police they are to leave me alone. They should have arrested Alice Victoria Scott. They didn't act by law, neither did Eastbourne Borough Council, and to tell Caroline Ansell this, and that I am being illegally, unlawfully bullied out of my home by Lilybank Homes again. As I said, the information I gave is on the government website about a licensee's right under the Eviction Act 1977 that I have lawful access to, because I'm a contractor. They need to follow legal process. You cannot just kick out someone on severe disability. They need a due process. And they need due process. Because if they don't even follow that, they've still got to find me by law somewhere else to stay by law. So again, I repeat, it's District Judge Harper who told me to go to the local MP. And I would appreciate support if there's members of the public who are watching this. I would appreciate your support, please. Because I'd already gone up Beachy Head suicide, or I was just a hairbreadth. I'm telling you, the more they do this to me, the easier it gets. The easier, as time goes by, it gets less and less scary to jump off the cliffs, because you're thinking about it more and more. You're disassociating more and more. I'm not saying it's easy, because it's not. I would have done it a long time ago otherwise. I don't know how people do it even when they desperately want to, because I have desperately wanted to do it but can't do it. So it's not the coward's way out. What a stupid thing to say. To say that is usually someone who doesn't really understand suicide. Which is what this Natalie said. That's just my opinion. Because it takes bloody guts, I can tell you. I've looked over those cliffs. I've tried to count to, and I've thought about walking backwards, because someone said to me that's how some people do it, walk backwards. Yeah. And I bought alcohol. I don't drink. It's poison. For me to drink, to buy poison, alcohol, I'm alcohol intolerant. So for me to buy this stuff makes me feel physically sick. Alcohol is expensive. But to glug it down, I vomited last time I did it. I vomited in my partner Darren's flat. I went into the toilet. He didn't know that I'd been up Beachy Head suicidal, and I came in the door and I just said, I need to be sick. Because I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't take drugs or anything. So it's real, believe me. And this landlady would have to go to prison for manslaughter as well. And probably, well, in my opinion, the director of this property. But you can't just bully someone out. Say, we need you out of here. I've got stuff everywhere. Just have a look at the state of this room. Look at the state of the room. I've got a dryer. I've still got my air up. I'm not sleeping. It's 4 o'clock in the morning already. And, I'm just updating, documenting what has happened today. So, yes, I got a knock on the door. I got those letters under the door that you'll see, the notice to quit. I've documented all of that. But anyway, I'm going to leave this for now. I can't think of anything else. I'll end up going insane. This is not a life. I'm at war. I'm at war with a criminal council. I'm at war and it's killing me. But I will fight to the death because I'm fighting for my sovereignty. My sovereignty under common law, the law of the land, which is under our Creator, if you look it up, and the Magna Carta and all of that. It's absolutely criminal what they're doing. We have so many rights. You wouldn't believe just how many rights we have, but then I don't know. But I know that we've got a lot. And we're living in a tyranny and you need to. So please reach out to my local MP, Caroline Ansell, and just say that they never got me an illegal evictions officer and that they're bullying me. So I'm just repeating myself. Right, over and out.